Hi, my name is Carissa Jones, and I work for a company called NCC Group Domain Services. Our specialty is cybersecurity and creating a safe corner on the internet. I will be explaining the problem we are facing today, our solution that addresses that problem, as well as the project of onboarding a new customer into our system. First, the problem we are facing today. Here's an overview of the current stats of cyber attacks. 42.8 million security incidents have been reported in 2014. This is an increase of 48% from 2013. Further, the average information security budget is only $4.1 million, with the financial costs of investigating and mitigating incidences growing year over year. Lastly, 28% of security incidences for medium-sized companies in North America cost between $100,000 to $500,000. As you can imagine, this is a lot of money. And companies that are targeted are ones that you and I hear of every day, such as Sony, Target, and Home Depot. The current situation is that there is inadequate amount of security. There are industry certifications, however, they meet a minimum level of security. There are recommended annual penetration tests, code reviews, and audits, but those only provide a point-in-time snapshot. Further, new vendor patches, vulnerabilities, lines of code are created every day. And as we can see, these current validation steps have proven little to actually reduce the risk of cybercrime. As Obama stated just a few weeks ago, the latest cyber threats are the most serious economic and security challenges facing the nation. So what can be done? NCC Group Domain Services' solution to address this problem is to combine a top-level domain with a high-bar technical policy. You probably are already familiar with top-level domains. .com, .net, .org, those are all examples of top-level domains. They are all owned and regulated by a company called ICANN. Only 22 have been released into the life of the internet. However, starting this year, there will be over 1,400 top-level domains. As you can imagine, this will cause a lot of confusion for consumers, as well as ideal for typo squatting and phishing schemes from hackers. What we've done is we have created a safe corner of the internet using .trust. This will be a secure registrar where anybody who wants to be a part of the .trust neighborhood will be verified as a legitimate company. Walmart.trust will never exist unless Walmart applies to be a part of the neighborhood. The second part of it is to have a high bar of security. We have asked luminaries in the industry to come up with a technical policy that encapsulates best security practices. Everyone within the .trust neighborhood must adhere to those practices. Further, we have a whole SOC, or Security Operations Center, that monitors 24/7 all of a company's online assets to make sure that they are at that high bar. Lastly, everyone within the community must be in compliance with the technical policy, and we help assist for any vulnerability remediation. So the project overview to become a part of the .trust neighborhood. It is to secure a company's online assets through a top-level domain and a new cybersecurity technical policy standard. The project initiation of bringing NCC Group, the parent company of NCC Group Domain Services, from .com to .trust is the scope of this project. It entails 24/7 monitoring and vulnerability remediation, as well as adhering to the technical policy standard. Initial financial resources have been committed, the contract has been signed and agreed upon, and the internal and external stakeholders have been identified. Those include NCC Group Management, the security team, the implementation team, and the legal team. The timeline outlined here shows the different stages until successful completion of launch onto the .trust domain. The entry takes about 1 to 3 months, which includes the intro meeting and a demo that involves all the stakeholders to understand the idea behind .trust. Next, the onboarding takes about 2 to 3 months. This includes all of the onboarding activities such as a signed statement of work, a domain name choice, authorization forms, and transferring of the domain portfolio to the secure .trust registrar. Next, the gap analysis is done. This takes about 1 to 2 months, depending on the size of the company and the amount of vulnerabilities that they have. What this does is this tells a company where they are security-wise to where they need to be at that technical policy high bar standard. Next is remediation, which takes about 2 to 3 months. We work with other company to try to remediate any issues that they may have. So they're not just led blindly into it and said, hey, you need to follow this technical policy. We actually help them get there. And lastly is the big launch. The .trust domain is assigned and goes live. Here are the project milestones laid out. They're very similar to what I just mentioned in the timeline. We have the onboarding meeting, as well as the gap analysis, and then any remediation, as I just mentioned. So an example of remediation in our technical policy, two-factor authorization must be complied to. What that means is a user must be able to confirm that they are who they say they are. An example is a debit card. You physically have a debit card in your hand as well as a PIN code. That is two-factor authorization. Any company within the .trust community must comply to this part of the technical standard, and we will help them get them there. So some project initiation issues and solutions that we came across from getting nccgroup.com to .trust was working with an external company. There were communication barriers. There are technical and non-technical audiences. Also, department diversity. There's security, marketing, IT, and legal. And the solution for that was just having good communication at all of these various levels, getting the right people to talk to the right people so they understand. Next was responsiveness. Not all the departments were on board and were a little hesitant to start the work to move to that .trust domain. But with more meetings to help them understand the importance of the change, that helped to seem to move things forward. And then lastly, there were some security compatibility issues. Different technologies, not everything's compatible, so that also had to be worked through. In summary, cybersecurity threats are at an all-time high. We are trying to create a safe corner of the internet. To initiate this project, there needed to be a commitment to a defined scope, financial resources, and identification of stakeholders. Managing the timeline and milestones are critical to this project's success. Lastly, initiation issues did arise and a solution needed to be brought up to remedy the problems as quickly as possible. Thank you.